Alright YouTube, we are back at it. This is going to be maybe a little bit on the shorter side. We're going to look at the new acoustic, well, it's new as of November 2019, so if you're watching this video in the future, the acoustic guitar course, level 1 and 2, is what we're going to be looking at, and that was released kind of the earlier part of November 2019. So it's new as of when I'm looking at it. It's kind of caught my attention. They haven't. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Guitar Tricks, I have a link to the. I've done a video review and a written review, and those are both linked in the video description below. You can check those out. And if you want to follow along with the course, you can click on the link in the description that takes you to the free trial and sign up for the free trial. That'll give you 14 days with this program. And that's plenty of time to kind of walk along with the screencast I'm going to do here and just go through some of the material. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to try to do a little bit of a review. I haven't gone through a ton of this yet. I haven't looked at a ton of it, so this is going to be a little bit cold. But initially it looks great. And you know, for those of you that follow Guitar Chalk or that have watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I think this program is really good. Like, I know that it gets maybe some overhype in some contexts, but I just think it's the best program. I truly think that their organization and the way they put content together, the way they put guitar material, kind of the way they kind of package it and the way they teach it is just really good, and it's really well done. And this course, the acoustic level 1 and 2, are no exception. So before I jump into the course, I'll give a quick overview. These are courses that have been added to the core learning system, which is a pretty big deal, because this chart that you see here, this core learning system chart, hasn't changed for a while. So it's all what they would kind of consider beginner material, but this grouping of courses here is probably, you know, their Guitar Tricks biggest selling point, maybe aside from their song lessons. And a few years ago, excuse me, a few years ago they added the Guitar Fundamentals 1 and 2 courses that Lisa McCormick taught, and she did a great job with those. Those are still on there, and that's kind of where you would start. But then once you finish those two courses, you go into sort of this more narrow focus that is either broken up into blues, country, or rock, and those were the only three um, kind of more niche down ways to study beginner content in the Guitar Tricks program. But now they've added the acoustic course, and like I said, that's brand new, so we're just going to kind of take a look at it. And I just want to give you my first impressions. There's not going to be any audio on the recording. The way I have this set up, it's pretty simple microphone but it's only picking up my voice. It's not going to pick up what's playing in the video, so you can see it, you can't hear it. And you might be able to hear a little bit of it, but you know, also considering that this is paid content, I think it's probably a little bit better for me not to have audio on there. But again, I'm just going to kind of be giving my 2 cents, giving a little bit of a review of the material here. And it's going to be taught by Anders Mortensen, and if you're familiar with Guitar Tricks at all, you know he's in a lot of the other courses, and I think that's great that they used him for this. He's definitely my favorite instructor on here. I think he does just the best job of presenting content, and also kind of billing himself as a really professional grade guitar player. So if you go down and you just start looking, like just looking through the kind of the syllabus here, the outline of the material, this is level 1, so there's 2 levels, and it's all going to be broken down into chapters. So they'll have like some gimmicky titles here, but when you go into a given chapter, there's 6 total here. Let's see some of what they're going to cover. If you click on a video, let's go into next level finger picking. You'll see on the kind of on the right hand side here the contents of the course. So if you click begin tutorial, it's not just one lesson. Like, it's going to be all of this material is going to be included in this particular lesson. So each video is over here in this little drop down menu. So let's just click through some of these. This is a, let's see, it's going to go through like kind of some finger picking patterns, which this is really interesting. You know, something that again, what I like about this is that it's beginner content that's kind of unique to the acoustic guitar, but it's definitely not something that was covered in the fundamentals courses that I mentioned earlier. So you can go through the fundamentals course, and you know, you might be someone who, like, you know, I'm interested in studying the acoustic guitar specifically. Like, that's my thing. Like, that's what I want to get good at. Then this is another beginner friendly course that you can go back through, and you can start learning concepts like this. I think this is, um, you know, again, like, this is well done. It's well put together. You're gonna have your notation here, which is usually pretty. The supplemental material isn't quite as quite as beefed up as something like Jamplay. Jamplay will give you guitar profiles and a lot of times audio clips and stuff like that. But Guitar-Tricks tends to just do the notation, and that's fine. That's not, you know, that's not a huge issue here. But let's keep going. Let's see, changing the bass notes. Yeah, and I also love, and this again, like, knowing Guitar-Tricks, this doesn't totally surprise me. Um, but I think the way they're structuring the material here, like, you know, they're talking about uh, the the finger picking patterns, and then they're you know, getting into a little bit of technique, a little bit of theory here, kind of as you walk down towards the next lesson, which is let's see, working in a simple melody embellishment. So I like the progression of difficulty. You know, just at first glance, it looks pretty solid. And here you can see he's doing a little bit of just kind of getting more in depth into the concept of finger picking and using your thumb and catching that bass note. That's looks like a pretty interesting bit if you're gonna really start to dig into the acoustic guitar. And most of these lessons, like here, if I skip to the end, it's about, you know, 3-4 minutes. See if we can find a longer one here. Optional practice. Yeah, so let's keep going on it. So if you uh, this over here where it says tutorial content, and I think all the courses are like this, you can break it down into the 6 chapters, and if you expand a chapter, then you can expand lessons within that chapter. So the next lesson is the melody embellishments. Um, sorry guys, I'm losing my voice a little bit. It's a little bit late, and I've had this nasty cough, but it just, like, towards the end of the day, like, my throat just starts feeling like really hoarse and raspy. So it's kind of bad timing, but anyway, let's see what we get in the melody embellishments here. It's a little bit hard to tell what's going on without the audio, but like I said, you can look at the notation really quickly, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just pause the video and I'll play through this stuff, and then watch some of the video. And like most of these programs, you have speeding up and slowing down options, which are, you know, of course, extremely handy. And this is just like, you know, all the other Guitar-Tricks courses. It's really well put together. But let's keep going. Let's look at let's look at some of the what's in the rest of this level 1 course. I don't want to get too much into the weeds because, like I said, you know, it is paid content. I just want to, you know, give kind of my first impressions and look at some of the content covered. So 16th note strumming patterns. Yeah, it's interesting that that might come up in a beginner course. Yeah, he's just gonna start. You can see the if you know tabs, you can see the muted chords here with the little X's. So he's just gonna take you through the 16th note rhythm. That's pretty cool, pretty interesting. Um, and I guess the one thing that I tend to not like is the way they title some of these. So like particularly at the chapter level. So like chapter 3 is look right, then left, then right again. I mean, I don't really know what that means. I'm not sure what if I sat there and if you read the description, it's gonna it's gonna explain it. So he's talking about kind of the um, just rhythm concepts and using chords in the context of rhythm, and but still some of these some of these chapter titles can be a little bit cryptic, like finger picking party tricks. Not totally sure I understand that. Music theory in action. It looks like he's just going to get deeper into some of the aspects of theory. And again, this looks really good. The Chord Anatomy 101. If you pull this up, you have yeah, all kinds of really good information here. I like how again how this is arranged. He's going to take you through the major scale, and then he's going to help you kind of understand understand the notes of that scale, and then get into. I would assume this is making chords, kind of the idea of building your own chords from scratch, starting at the root note and moving up from there. So we can just watch a little bit of this. He's let's see, yeah. So this is just basic major scale stuff, and um, let's just watch a little bit. Yeah, and it's hard to tell exactly what how he's tying this into acoustic guitar, but it seems like the way the content is structured, that he's going over theory and kind of specific chord related concepts that are uniquely helpful to acoustic players. So I'm just going to keep poking around here. It is this looks like see, this is still music theory in action. First, the fourth, and the fifth. So here he's getting into like some really some decently deep music theory concepts. Dominant seventh, least of the fourth, and some of this stuff reads a little intimidating, but he's still just talking about chord progressions. First, the fourth, and the fifth, really common chord progression. Let's see. Let's look into chapter 6. So, like I said, I'm not gonna do a. Looks like this is just so this is great. The you have your chapter 1 through 4 kind of looks like you're working on concepts and technique. Chapter 5 you tie it in with some of your theory, and then he's some application here. Chapter 6. Let's just look at some of that. I would assume in this case you're going to have some. Yeah, unless he's just teaching a little bit at a time. Just kind of looks like he's just applying some of the bar chord concepts that have already been covered. So, yeah, I mean, this just looks like this is a course that just again, this is just first glance. It's just my impressions. Like I haven't sat down with my guitar and gone through this, but I would be totally comfortable referring uh, people who want to get better at acoustic guitar to this course. I mean, it's typical Guitar Tricks quality. Like they just do a really good job with, like if you just look, here on the right side of your screen, tutorial content. If you just start clicking through, you can see the thought and the care that has been taken into putting these things together. And the other thing that you can't really notice without the sound, but the way Anders teaches this and the way most of the Guitar Tricks instructors teach these courses is pretty intentional. So like and what I think in some cases they're actually reading off a script, which might seem a little bit canned, and I think there can be some benefit to teaching a little more off the cuff. But this gets plotted out and taught really intentionally, and I think that's good. I think that's kind of a rare thing to find online. Even for paid material, that it's a little bit more rare to see something that is scripted and something that is really intentionally thought out. So I'm gonna cap it there, guys. I think that as usual, like Guitar Tricks does a really good job. And like I said, there is a link in the description for the free trial. So if you want to follow along with the screencast, or if you want to kind of just browse around and check it out yourself, I would definitely recommend clicking on that link and giving the free trial a shot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you next time.